Welcome back. Quick one today. Quick one for you if you wear contact lenses and glasses, and if your contact lens correction is not the same as your glasses correction, then this is for you. This is inspired by an email I got earlier today. Reader asking a bunch of vision improvement related questions, mentioning the glasses and contact lens corrections, which are both not the same. In the reader's case, the contact lenses had no astigmatism correction and the same spherical left and right eye, but the glasses had different spherical correction left and right eye, astigmatism correction in both eyes with different cylinder correction and different axes. So a much more complex artificial focal plane than the contact lenses, both being worn though in the same general time period. So sometimes glasses, sometimes contact lenses, switching in between. And here's the thing with that, the thing that I think is not a great idea, the thing is definitely not a great idea, is your vision biology is not designed to deal with changing focal planes. In fact, a big part of how your eyes work is trying to understand focal plane based on environmental influence, so based on what you see around you. When you're a little kid, you start out hyperopic, your eyeball is too short, and it grows longer based on when you're a little baby looking around and seeing the world. There's a very complex mechanism in your eye that adjusts the eye to the natural focal plane. And it does that throughout your life. And then the visual cortex, which is a huge part of your brain, is tasked with interpreting that focal plane signal. So this is this is a serious thing, that your biology is interacting with the environment, with what you see, with how you see it. When you change that focal plane, right, the light hits your eye in a different way every time you change it. So sometimes you're without glasses, right? And then you use natural focal plane. There's no astigmatism correction. There's no difference in focal plane between the left and the right eye. Then you switch to glasses in this reader's case, and all of a sudden now you have a different focal plane, left and right eye. You have an astigmatism correction, which basically is minus just on a specific axis in your vision, which adds a lot of challenge for your visual cortex to interpret that visual signal. If you have actual astigmatism, I'll try to remember to link some stuff on that below, you actually have a little bit of blurred double vision that only goes away when you get that astigmatism correction. So that's a serious change to your focal plane, especially when it's different for left and right eye, especially when it's on different axes for left and right eye. And then you add on top of that different spherical correction for each eye. That is a incredibly complex artificial focal plane. Now, if the same person can wear contact lenses that have none of that, right, that have the same correction, spherical left and right eye, and no astigmatism correction, and their vision is functionally the same, right? If you can look at an eye chart and see, say for example, 20/20 with both eyes with this very simple single focal plane correction, then there is no need and no benefit to that complex artificial focal plane. Because now what happens is your eye, which is designed to look at changes in focal plane, is getting all of this conflicting input. And what happens is your biology is constantly trying to adapt to focal plane changes to make sure that the eye is working properly, and it's always going to be in the state of confusion, heightened alert, trying to compensate, trying to understand what's going on. You get used to it, quote unquote, you stop consciously noticing it. The first time you put on correction that's different from your previous correction, you'll feel it. You might feel a little disoriented, you might feel a little bit dizzy, you might get headaches, but your biology will compensate for that. So in time, you'll notice this a lot less. Also with contact lenses, you get better peripheral vision, they're closer to your eye, they're better optical quality. So contact lenses in general are a bit more easy to adjust to in some ways. So all these things can happen without you realizing what's going on. But the whole time, you're taxing your visual cortex, you're confusing the biology, you're adding strain at all times when you're using these multiple different kinds of focal planes every day, all day, switching between them, that is completely unnecessary. And especially when you're working on improving your eyesight, this becomes a topic because there's a limited amount of focal plane changes that you can use effectively to affect changes in your eyesight. You know, like for example, you use a little bit less minus, you use a little bit less astigmatism correction, looking for that challenge to get your eyes moving in the direction that you need. This becomes much more difficult when there's already 5 different focal plane variations that your biology has to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Not brilliant. It's not good for you. I don't understand why the mainstream does this kind of stuff when they're restricting you from making your own choices and instead maybe pushing you to choices that are not very good for you. And especially when you don't need astigmatism correction, right? Like when you look at an eye chart and it's clear, there's no double edge line, there's no blur. When you don't have astigmatism correction, then you should never ever wear astigmatism correction. That should be logical. That should be logical from a biology perspective. That should be logical from an optics perspective. And yet, sloppiness causes these kinds of things to still be sold to you. Because, yeah, of course, it's easier to just buy contact lenses that are equalized, same spherical left and right eye. It's easier to buy contact lenses that don't have astigmatism correction. So sometimes that's what you'll get. But if that works for you, right? If you can close your left eye, you can close your right eye, you see the eye charts, you can read the same line, there's absolutely no reason to have another set of corrections in form of your glasses, for example, where your spherical corrections are different. It is not good for you, right? It's like wearing shoes of 2 dissimilar heights. Right? Barefoot, you're walking around, same height, and then you've got shoes that are the same sole height, and then all of a sudden you also have shoes that have a different sole height. It's just like that, very similar to that, but for your eyes, where you're changing the focal plane, you're changing where the light focuses, right? Your eye being designed to look for that, and it's not supposed to change. It naturally doesn't change. So this got a little longer than I intended. The point here being, make sure that all corrections that you use concurrently, right, are the same. And ideally, the simplest version that you can do. If you don't need astigmatism correction, don't wear astigmatism correction. If you don't need 2 different focal planes for left and right eye, don't use those. Use only what you need. If you have astigmatism, wear astigmatism correction, but only wear what you need. And if you have multiple different glasses or glasses and contact lenses, pick the one that's most appropriate and replicate the same correction throughout all lens use. And whoever tells you different, I personally wouldn't recommend listening to. But that's just me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. These are just quickie ones. Basically, right now I'm in Vietnam for a quick week or 2 of kite surfing, and it's raining right now, so I'm doing a quick video. If that's good enough, if that works for you, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.